Black lady sends a sexy photo to Korean Mafia boss by mistake. By morning, he appears at her door. Ronke Thompson had never felt so drained. Her boss yelled at her in front of the whole office. Her coworker accidentally spilled coffee on her new blouse. Her ex posted pictures of his new girlfriend, a girl who looked like she came straight off an airbrushed magazine cover. By the time she got home, she felt invisible, unappreciated, and frankly, ugly. She tossed her bag down and stared at herself in the hallway mirror. Her curls were frizzy. Her lipstick was smudged. Her favorite sweater had a hole. "This day can go to hell," she muttered. She walked into her bedroom, peeled off her clothes, and reached for the one thing that always made her feel powerful. Her red lace lingerie. She held it in her hands for a moment. "I need to remember I'm still something." She slipped into it slowly, the fabric hugging her warm brown skin, the color popping like fire against her curves. She clipped the straps, adjusted the cups, and stared at her reflection. She wasn't perfect, but she was breathtaking. Her phone sat on the dresser. She picked it up, opened the camera. At first she only intended to look. But she posed, soft chin tilt, body angled, a hint of vulnerability, and snapped a picture. Came out gorgeous. Soft lighting. Curves glowing. Eyes shy yet bold. A picture meant only for her. She sighed. Maybe I'll save it. Boost my confidence a little. Then her phone buzzed. Her best friend Chioma. "Send me a pic of the makeup look you said you tried." Ronke smiled faintly. Chioma always wanted updates. Still holding the lingerie photo, Ronke tapped to share a picture. But her phone slipped. Her sweaty thumbs smacked random buttons. The screen glitched as it sent the last photo to a random number in her recent call list. A number she didn't even recognize. "No. Please. No, no, no." She scrambled to stop it. Too late. The photo was gone. Her stomach dropped to her feet. Oh my God, who was that number? She clicked the thread. A known number. She felt dizzy. Her hands shook as she typed. "Please delete that. It was a mistake." Seconds ticked by. No response. She threw her phone onto the bed, covered her face in her hands, contemplated moving to another country. Just as she grabbed a robe to hide her shame, her phone buzzed. One new message. She froze. Her heart beat so hard it hurt. She tapped the notification. A known number. "Keep the lingerie. I'm buying you dinner. Tomorrow. 8 p.m. Don't be late." Ronke screamed out loud. What? Who the hell? Her knees nearly buckled. Her mind raced. A creep? A scammer? A stalker? A man who didn't understand boundaries? She blocked the number so fast she nearly broke her screen. Then she slid down to the floor, robe half open, hair messy, breathing like she'd run a marathon. This is the worst day of my entire life. She got into bed and turned on every light in the room. Even the hallway light. Even the bathroom light. Every horror movie she'd ever watched was suddenly replaying in her head. Eventually her eyelids grew heavy. Her breathing slowed. But as she drifted into an uneasy sleep, she didn't know one thing. Men like him don't get blocked. Men like him don't stay away. Men like him come in person. And Joon Woo, the most dangerous mafia boss in Los Angeles, had just seen the one woman foolish, or fated, enough to pique his interest. By morning, her life would no longer be her own. Ronke woke up with a headache and a sense of dread so heavy it felt like someone sitting on her chest. She blinked at her phone on the nightstand. 7:32 a.m. A full night's sleep hadn't erased the horror of last night. The red lingerie photo, the mystery message, the arrogant demand. She grabbed her phone, half hoping the message was a nightmare. But the thread was still there. Blocked number. Dark words. Keep the lingerie. I'm buying you dinner. Tomorrow. 8 p.m. Don't be late. Ronke groaned into her pillow. What kind of sick psychopath says something like that? She swung her legs out of bed, wrapped her robe tight, and tried breathing exercises. And out, you're safe. You blocked him. He's gone. She padded into the kitchen, poured cereal, and tried pretending this was a normal morning. The spoon had barely touched her lips when, bang, bang, bang. She froze. Not a friendly knock. Not a timid knock. A command. 3 slow, heavy blows. Someone wanted her to open the door. Her heart dropped to her ankles. Another knock, slower this time. Almost deliberate. Her blood went cold. She tiptoed toward the door, gripping the kitchen knife she left on the counter. Her fingers trembled around the handle. The knocking stopped. A voice followed. Smooth. Controlled. Miss Ronke Thompson, the man called, pronouncing her name perfectly. Open the door. I won't repeat myself. Her breath caught. No one in her building spoke like that. Nobody knew her full name except her landlord, co-workers, and a few friends. Her eyes widened. How does he know my name? Her pulse thundered. Her palms sweated. She forced herself to look through the peephole. And what she saw made her knees buckle. A tall man stood with his hands in the pockets of a tailored black coat, dark hair tousled by the morning breeze, expression carved from ice. His jaw sharp, his eyes intense, his presence overpowering. Two men, massive, stone-faced giants in black suits, flanked him like shadows. Whoever he was, he wasn't normal. He wasn't a creep. He was something far more dangerous. Ronke's breath hitched. Oh my God. She clutched the knife tighter. Her hand shook so badly she almost dropped it. She cracked the door open an inch. The man's gaze lowered to the knife in her hand. His eyebrow lifted, amused. You won't need that, he said softly. His voice was calm, but it wasn't reassuring. It was a warning. Who are you? Ronke whispered. The man stepped forward, his presence filling the hallway like gravity itself. I'm Joon Woo. A small pause. You sent me something last night. Her stomach flipped violently. Oh my God, and oh, there must be a mistake, I blocked you. A faint smirk appeared, slow and confident as if the world bowed for him. I don't get blocked. His eyes flicked over her face as if cataloging every emotion she felt. Fear, shame, disbelief, anger. Ronke tried to close the door. He placed his hand on it, not forcefully, just firmly, effortlessly stopping her as if she were a child. I'm not here to hurt you, he said. Then why are you at my door at 7 a.m.? She snapped, panic breaking through. Because, he said, lowering his gaze to her trembling mouth. When a woman sends me a photo like that and disappears, I don't wait for evening. Ronke gasped. Shock, embarrassment, and fury collided inside her. This is insane. You need to leave before I call the police. At the word police, his guards exchanged a look, amused, almost pitying. Joon Woo leaned against the doorframe, unbothered. You can try, he murmured. But they won't come here for me. Her heart dropped. And why is that? He tilted his head slightly, studying her like a puzzle he wanted to solve slowly. Because Ronke? A beat. I own this part of Los Angeles. Her breath stalled. She didn't even realize she was stepping back until he stepped forward, closing the distance. The hallway felt too small. Her robe suddenly too thin. Her pulse too loud. What do you want from me? She whispered. Joon Woo's eyes softened, dangerously. A conversation. He slipped a sleek silver card through the crack in the door. Tonight. 8 p.m. Wear the red. Ronke stared at him, stunned into silence. Is this a threat? His answer was a whisper, so soft it sent chills down her arms. No. This is me being polite. Then he took one step back. And the air around her felt like it had been vacuumed away. Lock your door, he said quietly. Your neighborhood isn't safe. She slammed it shut faster than she'd ever moved in her life, heart hammering, blood roaring, adrenaline shaking her to the bone. She pressed her back against the door, trembling. Lord, what have I gotten myself into? Ronke didn't move for almost a full minute. She stood with her back pressed to the door, breathing hard like she had outrun danger. But danger had shown up neatly dressed, smelling expensive, and saying her name like a promise. Her phone buzzed unexpectedly, and she flinched so hard the knife nearly slipped from her fingers. Her best friend Chioma was calling. Thank God, Ronke whispered as she picked up, voice trembling. You won't believe what just. Girl, breathe, Chioma said. You sound like you're being chased. What happened? Ronke swallowed. I told you about the photo accident. The red lingerie one? Yes, and I told you to calm down. No, Ronke's voice cracked. Chi showed up. At my door. There was a loud gasp. What? Ronke, call the police. I tried to threaten him with that, Ronke said shakily, and he basically laughed. He said the police wouldn't come for him. Silence. Then Chioma whispered. Ronke, what number did you text? Ronke opened her messages. The blocked number glowed threateningly. I don't know, it wasn't saved. It's some random LA number. Probably a creep or something. Read it out. Ronke recited it. Chioma muffled a sound. Ronke, that number looks familiar. Ronke tensed. Familiar how? It's the number that keeps coming up on the news. The one tied to disappearances, money laundering, and gang activity. The LAPD claims it's linked to. She stopped suddenly. To what? Ronk shouted. Chioma whispered the words like saying them too loud could summon demons. The Moonshade Syndicate. Ronk's body went cold. She didn't know much about gangs, but she'd heard that name. On TikTok. In whispered comments. In crime documentaries. The Moonshade Syndicate wasn't a street gang. It was a global mafia organization. Highly disciplined. Highly violent. Highly invisible. Their leader was rumored to be ruthless, brilliant, untouchable. A ghost. Chioma continued, voice trembling. They say the boss of Moonshade uses a single private number, one only his men and enemies know. If you call or text by accident, they track you to make sure you're not a threat. Ronk felt her gut twist. Chioma. Are you telling me? That man who showed up today. Ronk, he's not a creep. No, Ronk whispered, remembering his cold eyes, the way the air shifted around him, how his guards moved like shadows. He's something worse. The call cut abruptly. Ronk stared at her phone. Chioma? Nothing. The screen glowed red. No service. What the? She moved to the window and saw a sleek black car parked across the street. Her blood froze. It was the same car she saw earlier. It was still there. Idling. Watching. Oh God. She backed away from the window. A soft knock sounded on her door again. This time it wasn't a threat. It was a whisper of danger. Ronk panicked and pressed herself against the wall beside the door, knife still in her hand, heart thundering. Ronk, Joon Woo called, voice quiet but clear. You forgot this. Forgot what? The card. He had already given it to her. She didn't answer. He continued, calm as ever. I know you're afraid. You should be. She squeezed her eyes shut. I lead the Moonshade Syndicate. I'm accustomed to fear. He paused. But yours doesn't interest me. She didn't understand. The photo you sent. His voice lowered. It wasn't a threat. It wasn't bait. It was honest, pure. A moment you didn't intend to share. Ronk felt heat rush to her cheeks despite her terror. Joon Woo went on. I don't kill honesty. I don't chase traps. I destroy traps. Another pause. But I do pursue what intrigues me. Her breath stilled. I'm not here to punish you, he said. I'm here because you ran. Ronk finally found her voice. Barely. What do you want from me? She whispered through the door. Dinner. His tone was impossibly soft. And a conversation. That's it. Ronk whispered incredulously. For now. For now, she hissed. Joon Woo chuckled quietly, dangerously. You sent me a glimpse of something rare, Miss Thompson. His footsteps shifted as if he leaned closer to the door. I don't walk away from rare things. Ronk's knees trembled. He continued. You think this started with your photo? It didn't. What do you mean? She breathed. I noticed you 3 weeks ago. Her heart stopped. When you passed my men outside the art studios on Valencia Street. Blue dress. Gold earrings. You didn't see me. Ronk covered her mouth. You were smiling then, he added quietly. I liked that smile. Her soul left her body. And last night, you sent me something that told me why you stopped smiling. She didn't know whether to scream or faint. Joon Woo spoke one last time. I won't force you. But I don't disappear either. Then he said gently. I'll see you tonight. He walked away with confident, unhurried steps. Ronk slid down to the floor, shaking violently, knife still clutched in a white-knuckled grip. What is my life turning into? Across the street the black car pulled away. But in her chest, fear and curiosity pulled closer. Far too close. Ronk spent the entire afternoon pacing like a trapped cat. Her mind kept replaying every detail. Joon Woo's voice. His confidence. The men in suits. The fact that he knew her allergy, her address, her smile from 3 weeks ago. This man is insane, she muttered, tugging at her hair. Why am I even thinking about going? Her brain said don't go. Her instincts said run. Her heartbeat whispered something far more dangerous. Go. Not because he demanded it, but because she needed answers. And maybe, because the way he looked at her this morning had done something terrifyingly warm inside her chest. By 7 p.m., Ronk stood in front of her closet, staring at the red lingerie on the chair like it might explode. I am not wearing that, she told it sternly. She chose a simple black dress instead. Long sleeves, modest neckline, hugging her curves just enough. Beautiful, elegant, nothing provocative. But somehow, when she looked in the mirror, she wondered if Joon Woo would approve. Why do I care what he thinks? She snapped at herself. She left her apartment at 7:40. When she stepped outside, A sleek black car rolled to a clean stop beside her. A driver stepped out immediately. "Miss Thompson?" He bowed slightly. "Mr. Joon Woo sent me." She blinked. He sent a driver?" "Of course, ma'am." She considered refusing. Her pride wanted her to. But the truth was, the city felt suddenly unsafe. And she had no idea if walking the streets alone was a risk now. So she climbed in. The car smelled like leather and sandalwood. The city lights blurred past. Her stomach was a knot. After 15 minutes, they pulled up to a building made of black glass and gold light, like a palace crossed with a fortress. Ardell. A restaurant people whispered about but could never enter. The kind of place billionaires reserved months ahead. The driver opened her door. "He is waiting inside." Ronke stepped into the marble foyer, immediately aware that she didn't belong here. Not the way the other patrons did. Wealth clung to them like perfume. She tried to blend in, but the moment she entered, 2 security guards straightened, doing a full visual sweep. One pressed a finger to his earpiece. "Boss, she's here." Ronke swallowed. "Art." A hostess in a silk dress approached with a bow. "Miss Thompson? Right this way." She followed, each step echoing like a heartbeat. Then she saw him. Joon Woo. Sitting alone at an obsidian table, under a chandelier that made him glow like something holy and dangerous at once. Black suit. Perfect posture. Eyes fixed on her as if she'd been his destination long before tonight. He stood when she approached. "Sit." 2 simple orders, yet somehow they made her spine tingle. She sat. He didn't look away. Not once. "You came," he said. "I came for answers," she corrected quickly. "Then you'll get them." A waiter approached, but Joon Woo raised a hand slightly. "She won't be having shellfish. Substitute with saffron rice and grilled sea bass." Ronke stiffened. "Can we talk about how you know that?" He leaned forward, elbows on the table. "I make it my business to learn about the people I'm interested in." Her pulse kicked. "What? Why me, Joon Woo? You have, what? Women falling at your feet?" He smiled faintly. "Plenty of women want my attention. Few hold it." Ronke swallowed. "What exactly do you want?" she asked. Joon Woo tilted his head, studying her slowly. "Honesty first," he said. "Why did you take that photo?" Ronke's face flushed. "Excuse me?" He didn't blink. "You looked hurt." It wasn't seduction. It was vulnerability. Ronke's breath stilled. "How could you possibly know that?" "I know eyes," he said simply. "And I know sorrow. I've caused enough of it." His honesty stunned her. He continued, voice low. "That picture told me more about you than any dossier. You're strong, but tired. Beautiful, but doubting it. And more real than anything I've seen in years." Ronke's chest tightened. "Joon Woo, I'm nobody." His eyes darkened. "That's where you're wrong. In my world, real people don't exist. They're rare. And dangerous." "Dangerous?" she scoffed. "To me," he said softly. "You're dangerous to me." Her breath caught. Before she could respond, a server refilled their glasses. But as he stepped away, Joon Woo suddenly grabbed the man's wrist. The server froze. Ronke startled. "Joon, what are you doing?" Joon Woo's voice was ice. "You're trembling. Why?" The server stuttered. "And nothing, sir." "Try again," he said softly. And Ronke realized, soft was scarier. I. The waiter's eyes darted to the corner of the room. Ronke followed his gaze. A man at a nearby table stood up abruptly. Joon Woo's guards moved instantly, blocking him. The man cursed under his breath, turning away. Joon Woo released the trembling server with a gentle pat. "Stay calm. You did well." He turned to Ronke as if nothing had happened. What was that?" she whispered. "A warning," he said simply. "To anyone watching." Her heart thudded painfully. "You're not safe near me. You know that, right?" Ronke looked at him, searching his face for something human. "I don't understand you," she whispered. "You will." He leaned closer, voice wrapped in velvet and danger. "Let me be clear, Ronke." Her breath trembled. "I'm not dating you. I'm not pursuing you. This is not a crush." His eyes held hers like chains. "I'm choosing you." Her pulse pounded in her ears. "But you will choose me back. In your own time." She stared at him. Terrified. Thrilled. Overwhelmed. "How can you be so sure?" He smiled faintly. "Because you're here. Sitting exactly where I knew you would be." Ronke exhaled shakily. This wasn't dinner. This was a beginning. A warning. A claim. And she didn't know whether she wanted to run. Or lean closer. The walk back to the valet felt unsteady, like the world had been put on a tilt and Ronke couldn't find her footing. Her hands still trembled from the dinner, part fear, part something else she had no name for yet. Joon Woo walked beside her, composed and unervingly calm, as if the night belonged to him and he had intended every shadow in it. The valet brought the car. The city smelled like a mix of rain and exhaust and someone else's expensive cologne. "Would you like me to escort you to your door?" he asked. It wasn't a question, it was a courtesy dressed in ownership. Ronke hesitated. Pride told her to decline. Survival told her to accept. She climbed into the passenger seat. They hadn't driven more than 2 blocks when the world exploded into chaos. A black van, too close too fast, cut them off. A shard of glass shattered somewhere behind them like a gunshot's echo. Screams rose from the sidewalk. Joon Woo's jaw tightened. He reached across and pulled the door closed with one fluid movement, his body becoming a shield between Ronke and the street. 2 hulking men in tactical vests leapt from the van, weapons raised. "Down?" Joon Woo's voice was a command that left no room for thought. He shoved Ronke flat into the seat and in the same breath, threw himself half out of the car as the first shots cracked the night. Bullets pinged off metal and stone. The air smelled of ozone and fear. For a terrifying second Ronke thought she might die. Wrong place, wrong time, wrong number. Then a gloved hand was on her shoulder, anchoring her. The pressure of it was both terrifying and absurdly safe. Joon Woo's men were already moving. One slammed the driver's door shut and yanked Ronke under the back of a parked car as another man dragged Joon Woo behind a low concrete barrier. The world around them became a strobe of headlights and shouting. "Stay down," he ordered. His voice had edges she'd never heard when he spoke to her, hard, cold, a man used to violence. She pressed against the cold curb, panic and adrenaline warping her thoughts. Her heart pounded so loud it eclipsed the gunfire. She could feel Joon Woo's presence like heat at her back, his breath a near whisper. "Are you hurt?" he asked, soft now, impossibly close despite the chaos. "No," she managed. Her voice was a paper-thin thing in the storm. "You must be," he snapped, not angry, alarmed. "Tell me where it hurts." She had no answer. More gunfire, closer this time. A bullet struck the car's rear window, sending a spiderweb of glass into the air. Joon Woo's hand moved with blinding speed, pulling her up and dragging her behind the car while his men returned controlled, precise fire. They didn't fight like thugs, they fought like professionals. A surge of helplessness hit her. "Why are they after you?" she shouted over the din. "Because I exist," he said flatly, then softer. "Because I make enemies. Because I don't forgive easily." He kept one arm wrapped around her as they ran, not touching her roughly but holding her as if she might scatter. The closeness made the absurd, terrible thing obvious. He could protect her. He could hide her. He could claim her by the simple fact of keeping her alive. They ducked into a narrow service alley and scrambled into a waiting black SUV. The driver slammed the door. Joon Woo's hand stayed at the hollow of her back until the vehicle jolted forward and they were away, tires screaming into the anonymity of the night. Ronke's hands were shaking so hard she could barely catch her breath. She stared at him, really looked at him as the city lights blurred past the window. He looked calm in a way that scared her more than the gunman had. There was a quiet ferocity in the way he surveyed the road, calculating. "You should have left," she blurted, the words spilling out. "You should have let me go home." He watched her for a long second. "I'm not a man who lets what I want walk into danger. Especially not when it's because of me." Her throat tightened. "You brought this on me. And I will fix it." The promise in his voice was absolute. Unnegotiable. "You're safer with me until this is handled." She swallowed, feeling the truth of it like lead in her chest. She didn't want to be safe with him. She didn't want to owe him anything. But as the SUV merged into a quieter road, as the adrenaline leaked gradually into tremors, she realized how much the human body bonded to being shielded, to the warmth of another's protection. They arrived at a property she had never seen before, not the safe house she'd briefly glimpsed years ago around Los Angeles gossip columns, but a softer place. Plush furniture, thick curtains, an artful combination of fortress and home. The men moved like ghosts, locking doors, sweeping rooms, turning a sanctuary into a barricade. Joon Woo escorted her to a sitting room and didn't release her until she sat. He stood opposite, hands behind his back, the distance between them deliberate. "You should rest," he said. "You look exhausted." Ronke's voice cracked. "You could have been killed. Then I would have died doing what I do best." He softened his tone. "But I didn't. And you're here. That's what matters." She let out a shaky laugh that was half hysteria. You're impossible. He stepped closer, then stopped within reach and placed a protective, almost reverent hand at the back of her neck. No forward move, only a grounding touch. Tell me one thing honest, Ronke. His voice dropped. Do you regret sending that photo? It was such a ridiculous question in a room where bullets had just flown that she blinked at him in confusion. Her cheeks flushed at the memory of the small, private vanity moment that had detonated her whole life. No, she said before she could stop herself. I don't. He let out something that was almost a smile. Good. Because I don't regret seeing it. Her face burned. You can't just say things like that and expect me to be normal. Then don't be normal, he said simply. Be you here. Let me protect that. The line between protection and possession hummed between them, tense, electric, dangerous. Ronke felt simultaneously thankful and trapped, alive and terrified. She should have argued. She should have pushed back. Instead she found herself leaning into the quiet steadiness of his presence, as if proximity alone could stitch the raw edges the night had left in her. That night she slept in a spare room across a hall, not in his bed, not in his arms. He kept his promise not to touch her. But he didn't leave her side. A guard stayed outside. He checked on her like a man checking on something he planned to keep. Precise, methodical, protective. When she woke in the morning, sunlight cutting through the curtains, there was a cup of tea waiting on a small table and a note in neat handwriting. You're under my watch. Don't make me regret it. J. Her stomach knotted at the casual menace and the tenderness braided into the sentence. She folded the note and tucked it into her pocket as if to hide the fact that she had it, as if hiding could make her choice cleaner than it was. To stay and be wrapped in danger and care, or to leave and be alone in a world that had already shown she could be targeted just for existing. Either way, her life had shifted into a new orbit. And the gravity of him was the strongest force she had ever felt. Ronke woke to the eerie quiet of an unfamiliar room. No city noise. No traffic. No neighbors arguing. Just silence so thick it felt like someone had turned the world off. She pushed herself upright, head cloudy, body still humming with leftover adrenaline. Sunlight glowed through heavy curtains. Someone had placed folded clothes on a chair, soft, expensive fabric that definitely wasn't hers. A knock sounded. Not loud. Just firm. Controlled. Her breath caught. The door opened a crack and Joon Woo stepped inside, dressed in black slacks and a charcoal shirt, sleeves rolled up just enough to show ink curling along his forearm. He looked like he'd already handled 50 problems before 8 a.m., yet he still carried the calm gravity of a man who had rearranged his morning around her. Good, he said quietly. You're awake. Ronke rubbed her eyes. Where, exactly are we? Not far, he answered. But hidden. Secure. He watched her carefully, searching, studying. How are you feeling? I don't know, she said honestly. I'm somewhere between terrified and weirdly calm. I don't know which one wins. He stepped closer. Both are normal. For what? Being hunted? She snapped. For being close to me. He didn't blink when he said it. Ronke stared at him, unsure whether to scoff, scream, or laugh hysterically. Why did they attack you? She asked. Because of the photo? Because of me? No, his voice hardened. Ronke, that attack had nothing to do with you. It was an old grudge aimed at me. You were just. He paused, jaw tense. In the wrong place. And now? Now you're in the safest place. That's debatable. A ghost of a smirk flickered in his eyes. Then let me make it less debatable. He moved to the table near the window and placed something down. It clinked. A phone. A new one. A clean one. This is yours, he said. Your old number has been flagged. Too exposed. This one is protected. Ronke's stomach flipped. A burner phone? Seriously? Not a burner. He looked almost offended. A secure line. To who? You. Yes. She blinked. And what if I don't want to be secured by you? He took a slow step toward her, not threatening, just present. Ronke, someone tried to kill you last night. Whether you think I'm the problem or not, the danger is real. I don't force obedience. But I do expect caution. She folded her arms. It sounds like you're giving me rules. I am. Her pulse quickened. What kind of rules? His voice dropped, smooth and dangerous. 3. He held up a finger. Rule 1. You don't leave this house without me or one of my men. Ever. Not until I say it's safe. Ronke's eyes widened. Excuse you. Oppose it later if you want, he cut in. But you saw last night. You're not safe alone. She hated that he was right. He raised a second finger. Rule 2: if I call you answer. Immediately. No ignoring. No disappearing. Her heart thudded. That sounds like control. It's survival. And what if I block your number? You won't. He said it so calmly it sent a shiver down her spine. Not because I'll stop you, but because you're smart enough to know better. She opened her mouth but couldn't find an argument. He raised the third finger. Rule 3: if something scares you, if something feels off, you come to me first. That one hit differently. Softer. More personal. Why me? She whispered. Why is it my responsibility to come to you? Because, he said slowly, I'm responsible for you. Her breath caught. His voice, the certainty, the way his gaze held her, it felt like stepping onto a moving train. Dangerous. Fast. Inescapable. Joon Woo, she said carefully, you don't know me. You don't? I know enough. His eyes darkened. You send one photo in red lingerie, and instead of being afraid when a stranger texts you, you argue with him. Pause. You're brave. Reckless. And you pretend you're not scared. But you shake when I get close. He stepped nearer. Like now. She swallowed hard. Her pulse was trembling at the base of her throat. I'm not scared of you. Good. His voice softened. You shouldn't be. Silence stretched between them, thick, charged, warm. Then something unexpected flickered across his expression. A vulnerability so brief she could have missed it. He looked away first. Eat something, he murmured. Then we'll talk about how long you'll need to stay here. How long? She repeated. It depends on my enemies. Meaning? Meaning until they're dead. Her breath left her in a rush. He said it so casually, like he was telling her how long the weather would last. Not as a threat. Not as a boast. Just fact. Joon Woo, she whispered, that's not normal? No, he finally smiled. His real smile. Sure. Beautiful. Nothing about me is normal. He turned toward the door. Before he left, he paused and said without looking back. Ronke, I'm glad you sent that photo. You should know that. The door shut. And for the first time since last night, Ronke realized something terrifying. It wasn't the gunman she feared most. It was the way her pulse warmed every time he said her name. The house changed after lunch. Ronke felt it. The men patrolling the halls moved differently, tenser, sharper. Their footsteps were quicker. Their radios whispered low warnings she couldn't quite hear. And Joon Woo? He disappeared into his office for hours, the door shut, voices rising in clipped Korean through the walls. Something was coming. Something he didn't want her anywhere near. Ronke paced the length of the guest room, trying to convince herself she wasn't nervous. Wasn't restless. Wasn't waiting for him. Lies, her heart whispered. She wanted to see him. Needed to see him. After everything he'd done, everything he'd risked, she couldn't pretend anymore. So before she could overthink it, she left the room. 2 guards straightened, startled. One of them stammered, Miss, Ronke, you're not supposed to. I need to see him, she said, lifting her chin. They looked at each other. Then one nodded and stepped aside, letting her walk deeper into the house. As she approached his office, the door suddenly opened. Joon Woo stepped out. His shirt sleeves were still rolled up, but his hair was messy, his jaw tight, and there was a shadow in his eyes she had never seen before, something cold, lethal. He froze when he saw her. Ronke? His voice was low. You shouldn't be out here. Your guards let me through. They shouldn't have. Joon Woo. She didn't know what she meant to say until she was standing right in front of him, close enough to see the exhaustion behind his focus. Talk to me, she whispered. Something's wrong. His jaw clenched. I don't want you involved in this. Involved in what? He studied her. Art. Then softer. Then with a heaviness that seemed to weigh down his shoulders. Ronke, the men from last night were just scouts. The real threat is coming tonight. Her breath caught. Are you saying, someone's coming here? Yes. For you? Yes. And I'm still here? His eyes flicked away as if ashamed. Yes. Why didn't you send me somewhere safe? Because there is no safer place than with me. She shook her head. Joon Woo. I know what you're going to say, he cut in. That I dragged you into this. That you didn't ask for any of it. That you just sent a photo to the wrong number. He stepped closer. And you're right. You didn't ask for me. His voice cracked. I asked for you. Ronke's breath hitched. He never sounded like this, unguarded, raw human. You saw me, he said quietly. Not my name. Not my reputation. Not the stories people tell. Just me. A man who wanted a woman for the first time in a long time. A woman who didn't flinch. I was terrified, she whispered. No. You were brave. Even last night when bullets were flying. I looked at you and thought. His voice lowered, almost reverent. God, if she dies because of me? He stopped, swallowing hard. Ronke touched his arm gently. Joon Woo. Don't, he said, voice trembling. Don't be kind to me right now. I don't deserve it. She stepped even closer until her chest brushed his. It felt like stepping into a storm. A warm one. A dangerous one. One she was suddenly tired of resisting. Why are you telling me this? She whispered. His eyes lifted. Dark. Intense. Honest in a way that felt like a confession carved from bone. Because if something happens to me tonight, I want you to know why I came to your door. Why I didn't walk away. Why I chose you. Her heart thudded painfully. Don't say that, she breathed. Nothing is going to happen to you. You don't know that. I know you, she said. You survive things most people can't imagine. His lips twitched, not a smile but something warmer. Ronke, I never believed I'd find peace in a person. Not in this world. Not with my life. But you. He exhaled shakily. You quiet something in me. Something I didn't realize was screaming. Her chest tightened. Heat rose behind her eyes. Why me? She whispered. He cupped her face gently. Because when you look at me you don't see a kingpin. Or a criminal. He leaned closer. You look at me like I'm a man. A flawed one. But still a man. His thumb brushed her cheek. And God, Ronke, do you know how long it's been since I felt human? Her breath shook. Her voice trembled. Joon Woo, I don't know what this is. But I don't want you to die tonight thinking I didn't feel something too. His eyes hardened but with emotion this time, not danger. Tell me, he whispered. I don't know the words yet. Try. She swallowed, then pressed her forehead against his. I feel drawn to you. Against logic. Against fear. Against everything I'm supposed to run from. He inhaled sharply. And when you were shot at last night all I could think was... Her voice cracked. Please don't let him die. His hand shook against her cheek. Not with fear. With emotion. Ronke? She parted her lips slightly, and his breath caught as if it physically pulled something from him. For a moment the world went still. Silent. Waiting. Then, a loud knock on the door shattered it. One of his guards burst in. Boss. They're moving. We have 5 minutes. Joon Woo didn't look away from Ronke. Didn't blink. Didn't breathe. Stay in this room, he whispered. No matter what you hear. She grabbed his hand. Her voice broke. Joon Woo, don't leave me without saying. He kissed her forehead. Just once. Slow. Deliberate. Devastating. You don't have to say it yet, he murmured against her skin. But when this is over, I'll be here. And you'll finish that sentence. He pulled away. And she watched him walk toward danger with the terrifying realization that this man, this dangerous, complicated, impossible man, had already carved himself into her heart. And she wasn't sure she wanted him to leave. Or survive without coming back to her.